Welcome folks, this is Wear and Tear, yet another YouTube outdoor and gear review channel. Today I want to show you my brand new Olight M2R Pro Warrior. This will serve as my new night shift flashlight. Till now I mostly used the Armytek Partner for the last year. Now both of these lights actually have a very similar light color. The Armytek Partner is classified as warm white, the Olight is neutral white, but both of them are really close together because the Armytek Partner has a rather cold warm white and the Olight has a rather warm neutral white. So two very pleasant light colors for most setups. Now this is a 18650 flashlight and this is a 21700 flashlight. Still the size is very similar, only the Olight has a little bit of a larger diameter. Both of those lights work with TRR lenses, so they don't use a reflector, or at least not primarily a reflector, to shape the beam, but they use a fixed lens system. So both of them have a stainless steel bezel at the front. Now the Olight has a crazy stainless steel bezel. It looks very aggressive. It feels rather sharp in the pocket. Feels like it will tear your pants up. But for that it will also tear other things up. Things that you might want to tear up. Like somehow like a nutcracker or something like that, I don't know. Now the texture, the surface, very grippy, extremely grippy. Those grooves are so deep they also will help with dissipating the heat. And the tail switch, which also doubles as a charger, this one is magnetic, so it will the light will somehow hold depending on the angle. But mostly this is really for the charger. So magnetic charging. If we open the light up, we see the 21700 cell, which is a proprietary cell by Olight. It's powerful, high drain, I don't know, 5000 milliamps. It's like in the ballpark of a 26650 cell. So it's a large capacity cell, but it has plus and minus at the front, so the minus goes to the front. So this is a customized non-standard cell. You cannot just put any old 21700 cell into your Olight. For me that's not such a big deal because I typically marry my cells to the flashlight they're in. This way I keep track of my cells and the performance of lights. And if the light's performance starts to lack, I know there must be something wrong typically with the cell. So that's why I typically marry a flashlight and the cell. But there is of course situations where you want to just swap your cell because you have a drain cell. This won't be possible with this flashlight unless you buy another Olight cell for 20 bucks or something like that. So this takes a little bit of flexibility away from this light. Now, we'll talk about the user interface now briefly. We have two electronic switches. The tail switch is an electronic switch as well. And so the side switch, you can turn the light on and off through the side switch. Long press gives you the ultra low mode, and you keep pushing and it cycles up, cycles down again. So you turn it on, turn it off. I think if you give it a 4-second press, there's a lockout for the light. Mechanical lockout is not possible with this type of light because the electronic switch on the front will still be able to turn the light on. So again, this is an electronic switch as well, a 2-stage switch. So you slightly press it and you have like a 400 lumen mode, something like that. Maybe it's more. And then you fully press it, you have turbo mode. And if you press it just slightly, you push it for under half a second, it stays on. Okay, now it's on low mode. And now it's on high mode. So short push, and it stays on. And if you give it a constant push, then you have momentary on. So this works very intuitively. I appreciate that a whole lot. Done a few night shifts with this flashlight so far, and it really works great. Now the light comes with a holster, but it's just a storage holster that doesn't offer any additional functions. I would never use that on a night shift. I use those cheap 360-degree rotational holsters. I think I've used this one since about 6 or 7 years. That's why it's a little bit wobbly, but it still works fine. So you put your light in here, and then you put the holster on your belt, and yeah, then you have a very functional setup. So like if you enter a room, you do it like this. You have a little bit of light shining to the ceiling. You have a nice indirect illumination, or to the floor. So you can operate this light really very well this way. So this light in conjunction with such a holster works great. Like this holster works great with most 18650 and similar lights. So this is what I use since at least 6 or 7 years on my night shifts. So the user interface is definitely a very strong point of this light. Now, bear in mind, I didn't show you everything. It has hidden features. You can also program this light to a certain degree. I think you can put the strobe mode on the tail switch and stuff like that. So I want to add that it is very easy to carry this light around. You can put it in most pockets. If you have decent pants, like outdoor pants or something like that, this can be easily stored away. Jacket pocket, no problem at all. So you can EDC this light very well. It's much worse than this light. Now what I like is it's able to tail stand. This light can't tail stand. This is a little bit of a disadvantage. Now what I want to emphasize though is like those Armytek designs, they don't have the same high-end user interface. I think they have most electronic bells and whistles like over voltage, under voltage protection. The Olight has all of that. Now I don't want to really read the manual to you. I just want to share my user experiences. If you really want to do about the research about the technical details, you do it probably anyways before you invest 100 euros into a light like that. You probably read 3 times over the specs. Now as for the Armytek, okay, if you look for a super robust light, you're still better off with the Armytek. The Armytek, I would take snorkeling without hesitation. You have double O-rings. There is no charging mechanism. That means there's one less part that can break. You can easily swap the 18650s. It can work with 2 CR123A lithium primaries. So in many ways this is still a superior light for certain applications. I think especially maybe for hard outdoor use. On the other hand, well, you can't compare those two. Like the light output of this light is so much superior to what the Armytek offers. The Armytek, I don't know, is rated at about 1200 lumens. This is rated about 1800 lumens, but honestly said, this thing looks 2 times or 3 times as bright as this one when you try it outdoors. Of course, 21700 cell also offers you larger capacity. It probably works also, you know, delivers a little bit more current. This is a very good cell in there. So this light offers you more endurance, more brightness. In many ways you could describe the difference between the two lights, besides the brightness difference and the price difference. This of course is a little bit cheaper typically. You could describe it that way. You could say this one is a very puristic flashlight, bare bones, doesn't really advertise its electronics and whatever. And this one is a very sophisticated flashlight made for everyday use and for the best possible user experience. So you're probably going to be happier if you use a flashlight every day with this one. On the other hand, if you look for a flashlight that you just once in a while use or store for long term, or just use for backpacking purposes, it's probably better to have something like that, like an offering from Armytek, or a simpler, more robust light. It can be a convoy or whatever, whatnot. As for the Olight, this is definitely a light that wants to be taken out almost daily. It's for the professional user that depends a lot on his flashlight and a good, efficient user experience. Now, the downsides of this light, I already mentioned the proprietary cell. That is a minus. For some, might be a minus. They have an electronic switch. I don't know if there's a parasitic drain on this flashlight, but it's definitely not good for long-term storage. Again, it wants to be used every day. That's also why it has a magnetic charger. Not every day, literally, but regularly, often. Now, the other downside is, and this is really not cool, if you look here, you have the TIR lens, and it already starts showing little scratches. After only a few weeks of use, I already have little scratches in the lens. I don't even know where those come from. Maybe from my pocket carry, but it seems to want to collect such little scratches. And I wonder where that should lead to. I mean, in about a year, is the light going blind, or do I just have a floodlight then, because it scatters all the light? This baby, on the other hand, I didn't find a scratch after using it for more than a year. It's also in there a little bit deeper, but that's not the reason. For example, I have other lights with TIR lens systems, like the Jacksman, and they have a scratch-resistant glass lens in front of the TIR optics. So this is definitely something that they could have done here on this very expensive light. So maybe it's something embarrassing. Maybe they forgot to add the lens here, or maybe there is some coating on it. I don't know. I think I will check back with Olight and ask them if that is a design flaw or something that is just like that on my model. But I definitely don't like the scratches on the lens system, although so far it doesn't affect the beam pattern or anything like that. Other than that, this is a super high quality light. It's beautiful. It has, as I mentioned, in my opinion, the perfect user interface, and I'll happily use it on my night shifts. Now, if I go outdoors, maybe, you know, backpacking purposes and stuff like that, maybe something more robust like a Doberman or this Armytek Partner, which you can also take out for snorkeling purposes, and where I have no doubt that they'll survive pretty much anything. The Olight is also rated lower in terms of drop resistance and water resistance. Of course, I did a water test on the Olight. The Olight passed it, but that was just a submersion in basically like a small bucket for a few minutes. Now, if you like this video, please like and subscribe it. Feel free to comment. And this was Wear and Tear, over and out.